Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I'm your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Gemini in mid-August 2019. Hello, Gemini. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. All right, man. End of summer. Hope it's going well for you. My end of summer is simply going. Neither good, neither bad, which is totally good. Can't complain too much about that. Anyway, guys, shuffled off camera, that is your main spread there. We'll shuffle on camera now for your outcome and your overall energy. Once all of the cards are out and they are lying face up on the table, that's when the reading begins. You can look in the description box below for the timestamp if you want to jump ahead. Also down there is all the information you need. If you want to get a personal reading with me, you simply follow those steps. But if you have any questions before you place an order, you can also email me at the same address and I will answer you as quickly as I can, okay? All right, guys, let's get into it. I want to see the outcome for Gemini in mid-August 2019. Gemini's mid-August outcome, please show me. Tricky. Did that flip? No, I don't think so. Okay, thank you. Oh my god. It's like I want to have a steady shuffle, but things keep getting like abruptly like side, like I get it. I'm attached to your energy and then I'm disconnected very quickly. It's weird. And it was kind of like that in the pre-shuffle as well. Or not the pre-shuffle, but when I laid your spread, it was kind of like that too. So one more time, please. Show me Gemini's outcome in mid-August, please. There, thank you. Bottom of the deck, excuse me, will be the overall energy. Boom. All right. And you came face down, so let's see what else is going on for you guys. All right, well. How's that? How'd that look? Yeah, it'll do. Oh man, I think like my setup got like askewed a little bit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Pardon me. Please show me where Gemini is in mid-August 2019. Please show me Gemini in mid-August 2019. Please show me. Okay, you got it there. But let me tell you something. Not easy to connect with this at all. And in the meditation before, yeah, it was like a little like plugged in and then I was unplugged, plugged in and then, you know, on and off with the energy. I was able to connect and then it's like sort of like for those who remember like the days of dial-up, dial-up internet. Like God forbid if somebody tries to call the house or God forbid somebody picks up the phone or whatever, like you could be knocked offline like in an instant. It's kind of like that. Anyway, Gemini, coming into the reading, you come in with the Two of Swords in reverse. I'll show you this card upright so you can get used to it. Oh boy, so I think you don't want to play a game anymore or you don't want to be involved in something anymore, and unfortunately that's just not possible. Gemini, I feel that you kind of are giving up the ghost in a lot of ways. You're tired of something, you're vexed by something, you feel betrayed in a situation, or you feel left out of a certain dynamic, and so because you've been left out or because you've been sort of scapegoated or taken for granted, you're like throwing your hands up in the air and saying, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to be a part of this. Because the Two of Swords when it's in the upright, talks about some type of inaction or inability to choose or inability to make a decision, right? Or reluctance to do these things. With this Two of Swords in reverse, I feel that you absolutely don't want to be in this in-between space. You don't want to be in on any type of decision making, any type of debates. You don't want to be between this thing or the other, or this person or the other. And so the whole game of having to decide or having to be included on a decision, but then left out of some certain details, or vice versa. You are in on the details, but then you're not sought for any type of input as far as what should be decided going forward, and just the whole thing. The whole game of it. And the game is being really highlighted here. So either you're literally like in a game, well, not even literally, like figuratively you're in a game, like the game of life, or, you know, office politics or something like that. Or the game as far as like just the weird. It's weird, but pomp and circumstance, but more to the sense of more in line with oh my god, what's that word? It's gonna slip my mind and I'm gonna hate myself for it. Like the masking of it, like a masquerade. Like either you don't want to be a part of something that's like office politics, or like even the politics or the games we have to play amongst friends and family. You're like not here for it. And if it's not that, pretense, that is the word, pretense. Thank you. The whole thing just reeks of bullshit to you, and you don't want to do it. You know, I think you're kind of looking at the different players in the room, family, friends, co-workers, doesn't matter what we're talking about, but you're looking at all the other players and you're kind of calling people on their mess, or you're seeing that nobody is owning up to their own mess, therefore why should you be held accountable, or why should you be expected to be so forthright in what you're doing or what your role is. And so it's just like, I don't want to have anything to do with any of this. I'm done. Like there's a lot of I'm done. And you're kind of, like I said, giving up the ghost, or giving up just your give a shit about it. You're just like throw it. Like, if I'm honest, it's sort of like, you know, flipping a table. You know, chess pieces go flying, the checker pieces go flying, the little hat and the dog and the race car and the Monopoly board goes flying, whatever. You're just like, I don't want to play this game. It's stupid. So in whatever way that applies to your life, there's this, I don't want to be involved in something where I know what I can put in terms of that Two of Swords being upright. Your involvement is inconsequential. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. You know, because the two, when it's in the upright, this Two of Swords, when it's in the upright, it's really like having some type of apprehension about what you do going forward, and kind of making a mountain out of a molehill in a lot of ways. Like fretting over something that in the long run isn't always that impactful. And so because you're having that Two of Swords in reverse, Gemini, you're realizing what's impactful, or the level of impactfulness that your position brings to the table is so small. It's inconsequential. It's insignificant. Not to say that you are insignificant, not to say that you as a person don't have an impact in life. It's just in whatever situation we're talking about, business, family, friends, I don't know what we're talking about. You're just like, in the end, it doesn't make a difference what I do or what I say. So why do I want to do or say anything? I don't want to do this. I want to leave. And okay, so maybe that's where we're getting to sort of the nooks and crannies of this thing, which is where if you're not being valued, Gemini, you don't want to be a part of it. You have some type of dignity or self-respect in that regard, if you want to view it that way. And, you know, that's more for the cross-watcher who might be here sneaking in on a Gemini reading, okay? Because, you know, Gemini is a sign of confidence. A lot of Geminis are very self-assured underneath it all. They might not show that outwardly. They might have moments in their life where they do feel insecure or they might be uncertain, but underneath it all, Gemini only wants to be involved in things that are interesting to them or that intrigue them or that show some type of value and input or impact in their life. If this situation, whatever we're talking about, has little to no impact on your life or on what you want to do or what you can contribute or what you bring forth to the table, Gemini, you're just like, well, screw it. I'm not going to get involved. I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to walk out, or I'm just going to go and do something else. Your value not being recognized or not being necessary, and you're sort of just like this placeholder, or, you know, again, like in office politics, maybe it's something like that. You know, people are asking you, maybe you're on a review board, you know, maybe you're a part of a hiring or interview committee, right? Where you're interviewing different prospective employees, right? But you know the third person who's going to be interviewed today is the cousin of the senior vice president. Okay, so this guy's cousin is coming in on Tuesday. We've got 4 or 5 other candidates to interview after them. You're kind of like, I don't want to do that. You already know that because of nepotism, because of whatever goes on in your office, the person who's the cousin of the senior vice president is going to get hired. You're pretty damn sure. Therefore, you're like, I don't even care about interviewing anybody else, or I don't even care about being on this panel. That person, because of special favors or because of nepotism, because of whatever, is probably going to be hired. Why are we all participating in this farce? Why are we all going through the motions and doing these theatrics? It's bullshit, and I don't want to be a part of it, so you don't want to be a part of it. Wow, that's a lot. And the Two of Swords is normally not anything like that, but there's a resistance to being like, that's it. You are resistant to portraying yourself as if you actually are in between choices, that you're hemming and you're hawing and that you're having a hard time making up your mind. You don't want to pretend that's the reality. Your mind is made up. I don't want to play these bullshit ass games. I'm out. Wow. Interesting. Yep, because it's tiring. There we go. It's tiring. 10 of Wands. Jumping through hoops, making people believe that you care when you don't care, making people believe that you believe your opinion matters when you know your opinion doesn't matter. And this might sound quite pessimistic to you or the potential cross-watcher, Gemini, and I don't think you view it that way. I think that you view there are certain systems or certain hierarchies or certain social networks involved in different aspects of your life. So, you know, it might again sound pessimistic, but Gemini only believes this is crap. This is a BS situation in the realms of the workplace, or in the realms of public policy, or in the realms of this certain dynamic within our family structure, right? When our grandparents are around, we have to say and speak and do certain things. Like maybe you come from a religious, this is just an example, but maybe you come from a very religious, very orthodox upbringing. Your grandparents are like super orthodox and you're totally not. So when grandma and grandpa come over the house, we all have to pretend like we do the prayers or that we do these conventions within the house. And you're like, yesterday we didn't do any of that shit. Why are we pretending? So there's this gravelly, very, what is this? Grating, that's the word they want. Grating feeling on you, Gemini, of having to portray something that isn't true. Now, that doesn't mean, especially in this religious example that came into my mind, it doesn't mean that you don't care about your grandparents. It doesn't mean that you don't love them. It's just a matter of you're sort of sickened by everybody else playing that game and doing it with a smile on their face. Doing it when they're nodding their head. Oh, yes, Grandpa. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's like, we don't do that in this house. You're a liar. So that's it. Or, you know, again, having to go through the motions of interviewing all these prospective candidates for this one job that you already know is going to go to the cousin or the brother or the niece or the nephew of the person in higher up management. You're just like, this is a circus. There's no purpose in going through all of this. Although, of course, you recognize there is because, you know, social hierarchies and decorum and all that kind of stuff, you understand it. But regardless of your understanding, the performance of it and having to go through the emotions is giving you the 10 of Wands, is giving you that burdensome feeling, is giving you this feeling of, I have to keep up this act, I have to keep behaving in these ways, speaking these ways, showing up to these interviews, showing up to these meetings, showing up and putting on my cross or putting on my Star of David, wearing my yarmulke, you know, keeping, you know, the dairy. I think don't Orthodox Jews keep like their dairy separate from all their other food or something like that? And you're just like, oh my God, I have had dairy. I the same spoon I used to eat my cereal, I also ate like some soup later that day. Whatever. I don't know if that's true. I really don't remember much about Orthodox Judaism. Not that I've actively studied, but I used to know a thing or two. Anyway, doing any and all of that stuff is just like bullshit, and you don't want to do it. You're doing it maybe for the sake of other people. So in the case of the religious family, you're pretending that you are in line with those beliefs to please your parents and your grandparents when you could give two flying monkeys about that. Or, you know, you're, for the sake of your own job, you have to continue to interview all these other candidates on this panel or amongst this panel, even though you know the third person was the already, you know, star candidate. And you're just like, okay, I guess I have to spend the next week and a half doing this, sitting on this panel and being a part of this committee instead of doing my actual work. It's just like, you get it, and it's for the sake of other people that you're carrying this weight, you're carrying this burden. But man, if you're not bitter about it, that would be a miracle. Because you're quite bitter about it. You're absolutely bitter about it. Yes, thank you. 5 of Swords. So your defiance and your pushback on being not interested in playing the reindeer games, not interested in playing, you know, nice altar boy or, you know, perfect, you know, perfect employee, whatever you're having to play, whatever role you're having to play, Gemini, you're just like, being resistant to it is almost futile. You realize that there's a bigger machine, bigger system at play here. You're not the only member of the family. Again, I feel it's like, you know, not to be like totally cliched, but it's sort of like the grandparents are like super religious, the parents are like moderately religious, and then you're just like, I don't even believe in God, or I don't even believe in this religion that I grew up in. I'm actually Buddhist, but here I am pretending that I'm actually an Orthodox Jew. Like, there's nothing gained, truly, and you can do what you want. I feel there is a resistance. I feel there wouldn't be anything gained by going to your parents or going to your grandparents and saying, you know, I don't even believe in the things that we were raised on in this house. I don't even practice this anymore. I don't even believe that God said this and blah, 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 blah. And you would aim to have an intellectual conversation about religion or spirituality or whatever with your parents and or grandparents. You would aim to have a better understanding or to express yourself and be honest and be recognized for who you are. But the way it would come across would be very adversarial with this 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords is arguments and disagreements and having contentious energy between two or more sides of an issue, and nobody leaves satisfied. Nobody leaves feeling any more enlightened or any more better off, really. It really ends up being a cut your nose to spite your face sort of situation. So I'm not here to advise you to button up and shut your mouth and play nice in any of these situations, whether it's the religion thing, whether it's the situation at work or anything else. I'm not advising that. I'm just feeling that as strongly as you feel, whatever convictions you have, whether we're talking nepotism in the job, whether we're talking, you know, religious decorum in your family, whatever you believe in, someone else believes just as strongly in their side of the situation. And not to say that I think it's going to come to any type of big arguments. It might not. It might be quite subtle. But I don't think you're going to make headway with people. I don't think that you're going to be changing anybody's mind or opening up anybody's worldview, so to speak. You could. It's always possible. Tarot is not science, right? You could, but I just don't feel that it's there. I feel that whatever conversations you may or may not have with someone would be more detrimental than helpful, or wouldn't serve your end goal, Gemini. But, you know, I know what it's like to sort of stifle yourself and keep your opinions and your beliefs to yourself for the sake of other people. Like I said, that shit gets old. 10 of wands, right? It gets to be quite a burden to have to constantly curtail your own mindset or your own opinion just so other people can be happy. That would definitely grate on your nerves. And I did do this, right? A grating feeling. It's very like a pebble in your shoe that you take your shoe off, you shake your shoe out, you dig your hand in there and you try and get it out, and then you put your shoe back on and it's still, pinching you in the bottom of your foot. Like, that's annoying. Everything you try to do to remedy the situation, you try to walk normally and it just does not work and it becomes frustrating. Gosh. Now, here comes the curveball. 2 of Cups. Why is it here? 2 of Cups. I don't think you're having, if I'm honest, like any type of significant relation. Well, maybe you are. Maybe this 2 of Cups is a significant relationship with someone, one-on-one, friendship, partner, lover, best friend. I don't know who it is. I don't know what the significance of the relationship is, other than we care about each other and we're sort of 2 halves to the same, or 2 sides to the same coin is sort of a feeling that I get here. It's not, the 2 of Cups is often said to be rather a soulmate card. I'm not sure that you or the other person would be viewing the situation as a soulmate, but you do have a connection with another person. I'm not sure that this connection with someone is applicable in what we've talked about up until now. So what do I mean? This person could just be calming you down, reminding you of the bigger picture, reminding you that, yeah, you don't want to play this game, but for the short-term gains versus the long-term gains, it might be better if you just played along. And they might be basically talking you off or back from the ledge, back from whatever drastic decisions you might want to make. This person has a calming effect on you. And not to say, Gemini is out here raging out, hulking out, beating people up, or, dropping, inappropriate social cue bombs everywhere, just having a faux pas and not giving a damn about it. I don't think that. I think that this person basically keeps you anchored in reality, because I feel that, again, this whole situation that we talked about, Gemini, I think you're coming at it from this very bird's eye view, like from the top down. I can see all the bullshit in the valley. I can see all the games everybody's playing. And not like it's a God complex or anything like that, but you have this very detached view. Even though you're still a part of the action, you're still able to see everybody else's action. And when you're up that high from a treetop or from a bird's eye view or whatever, you can become a little idealistic. You can become a little demonstrative, or feeling as if you have the answers. And this person, whoever they are, I feel they're really outside of the situation. So again, a friend, your spouse at home, you come home, you kick off your shoes, you undo your belt, you kind of relax, and then you just spew all the things that you've experienced at work, having to do these interviews that are fake. This guy's going to get hired because he's the blah, blah, blah's cousin, and he's not even as qualified. And your wife or your husband is just like, I know, babe, it's okay. You knew that going into it. So, it's like this person is like trying to make it so that you don't talk yourself into any more agony or any more stress. This person really brings you down in a good way, calms you down. You let off steam to them. They make both of you like a cocktail. They crack open a beer for you and them, and you guys just sit back and relax. You feel supported by this person. I'm not going to say soulmate because, I don't know that this person is that type of significant to you. They might be. But there's a commonality between the two of you. So maybe both of you, swap, terrible stories about work and how much you can't stand it and how much you hate your coworkers or something like that. So I hesitate to use the word soulmate more so than normally, because I normally give a whole speech about soulmates due to statistically speaking, not everybody can be dealing with soulmate. This soulmate, I just feel or this lack of me using soulmate is just maybe your kindred spirits, maybe not necessarily a part of any soul tribe, but certainly you recognize each other's ability to be on that mountaintop or be in that bird's eye view and able to see how all the systems are at play and recognizing the game that everybody is agreeing to play, even though both of you might not want to play that game. And this person, again, like kind of pulls you back. Just like, hey, Gemini, just let it go. Is kind of what I feel there. Which is interesting. Because, the interplay between this being your starting position and this being your final position, like literally, this could be the trajectory of your entire day. Here you are waking up in the morning, feeling groggy, feeling like, oh my God, another day in paradise, sarcasm, right? And then you go to work, you're driving into work, blah, blah, blah. And then you get there and you start doing the interviews and you hate it. You know it's fake. You have to laugh at people's fake jokes and it's just like such a burden to you and you can't stand it. Then it's like after lunch and like somebody comes to you at your desk, says some crap, and you're just like about 2 seconds away from telling them how you really feel, but you don't. You hold yourself back, or you do tell them about what you really feel, and then you go home and you reflect with your partner or your friend or whoever, and they remind you, we all play this game, Gemini. And you're like, but I don't want to play the game. But they're like, well, unless we all, unless you have money to like go live in a cabin in the woods, or you're going to live in a tiny home and unplug from society, this is kind of what we all have to do. And then you just circle back and you do this again. So this person is like a grounding effect for you. They really bring you back down towards reality in a good, helpful, supportive way. They make you happy also. I mean, this is the Happy Tarot deck. Unfortunately, you got three cards that don't really depict happiness. You have one that depicts happiness. So this person really puts a smile on your face, and you're very grateful for them. And they feel the same way about you. You guys meet each other in that way. That's good. Now your outcome for mid-August, Gemini, is the Two of Pentacles. So, all right, so you see in his hands, he's holding the infinity symbol or the infinity loop, right? Round and round we go, round and round we go. And this is, again, you got 3 of the 2s here in your entire reading. So this duality, or not even duality, this back and forth between I'm in it, I'm not in it, I'm in it, I'm not in it, I'm playing the game, I'm not playing the game. Like, this is kind of what I feel you've been doing, or what you will continue to do for a little while. Because even with this Two of Swords in reverse, this throwing your hands up or tossing the table and the chess pieces go flying everywhere, you eventually will end up back playing chess again, is kind of what this feels like. So again, I feel like those are like the biggest 2 examples I can give you guys. The workplace thing with the nepotism, and like these like incredibly religious family members that you for the sake of their sensibilities, you play as if you're still in that same faith, or you're still just as committed to your faith. Like, those are the best 2 examples I can come up with. And this Two of Pentacles is showing me that you'll continue to play this game against whatever you might wish to be the actual outcome. This is most likely the true outcome. That I will continue to go back and forth between being totally compliant and playing a good employee and playing like I don't care about office politics and that I'm just a member of the team and I'm happy, and versus being a secret anarchist who's like writing a manifesto in your cubicle, day 685, the corporate lords that be, there's something about dissension and then not dissension. I agree, and then I don't agree. I'm a team player, and then I'm an anarchist. Something like that. You go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And with that infinity symbol between this guy's hands, it's showing me you're going to be doing that for a minute. Now, you're going to be doing that for as long as it takes, for as long as you're employed in the company. You're going to be doing that for as long as your grandparents will continue to visit over the holidays, or, you know, you have to go over to their house to show respect every so often, blah, 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 whatever. You will continue to do it. It's neither good nor bad. I think that's just the reality of the situation, Gemini. And you have to reconcile within yourself how comfortable you can be with that. You know? How comfortable are you really with being a reluctant player in these games? Overall energy for your reading, Justice. Major Arcana for Libra, so some of you might be dealing with a Libra, but you don't have to be. So the moral aspect of it is here with the Justice card. What's fair, what's right, what's correct, what's prudent, right? And you know, I feel, I didn't want to say it, but it has steadily grown to this position, or excuse me, this perspective for me with you, Gemini, is you're coming from this holier than thou perspective. And again, it's a general reading. It could go the other way. You could be, you know, the senior VP, and this is like one of your underlings who's thinking this about you, Gemini. It does not have to be. But you know your life better than I do. But there is, again, for lack of a better phrasing, a holier than thou perspective. Like, I know better than anybody here what should and should not be. I know better than anybody here what's right and what's wrong, or what's proper or what's improper, or what should be viewed as an infraction or as admissible and what's not admissible. Like, you're feeling that you're seated here in the seat of justice. And whether or not you are, or whether or not you should be, is beyond my purview. But there is this interest in what is correct. And again, I feel like some of you feel it's unfair. Like, your personality, your natural disposition in this world is not one to play games, is not one to, you know, follow the leader and be, you know, part of this corporate machine. Some of you might be having that, you know, maybe not holier than thou, and I mean no disrespect when I was using that phrase, but maybe some of you are having to reconcile and recognize that I don't want to be a part of any corporate identity or corporate political, you know, games that most of us play, or many of us, not most of us, but many of us have to play. Even if you're, you know, working retail, there's certain games and certain, God, I know about that. There's certain things that are expected of you if you are a sales associate versus, you know, a supervisor versus a manager versus store manager, regional, and all that other kind of stuff. And so, like, when the regional manager comes to the store, you know, the management in stores like, oh, well, Susie from regional's coming down, so let's all be on our best behavior, okay? And let's go out. And it's like, you never give speeches like that, Tom. You never give a shit what we do here on a day-to-day basis. So from your perspective, Gemini, it's just like, it really grates on your nerves that because of these certain stipulations and certain specifics, it changes the way people behave. You don't like that. And you're in a position, or you're putting yourself in a position to be very judgmental about it. And I think, again, if that is not aligned with who you are as a person, if it really stresses you out, if it really grates on your sensibilities to be a member of those types of social situations or you know, sort of hierarchies, for lack of a better word, then you would need to leave. Or write that little secret manifesto, write that little memoir from the inside, and you're calling for a total reconstruction of what it means to be a member of a retail experience or a member of a corporate experience. You know, become an independent, you know, independently wealthy by writing an amazing book. I don't know. Gemini, that is your reading for me. That's so weird at the end. But maybe that's like your way out, is you have a creative outlet that turns into something else that gives you independence so that you no longer have to play these games that you absolutely abhor, right? All right, guys, that's the end of your reading. If you liked it, there's a like button down below. Go ahead and hit that for me. All right, Gemini, I got cut off there at the end. As expected, I forgot to delete stuff because I'm the worst. Anyway, liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all of those things, that would be greatly appreciated. You can share this across your social media platforms, let other people know about my content here and that you like watching what I put up here on the channel. You can, of course, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. That would be amazing. Gem, I will be back in a few weeks. I'm going to do your September readings and your mid-Septembers and so on and so forth. You will see me go live in the middle of September. I will be doing a live birthday reading for Virgos at that time. If you want to stop by, say hi, hello, hang out and chat, that's totally okay. But if you want to skip it because it's not for your birthday, it's not anything to do with Gemini specifically, I totally get it. Either way, I appreciate you. All right, Gemini, I really do appreciate you guys taking your time to watch this video today. Take care. Bye.